several of us got together and petitioned the Democratic Party to recognize a Native American caucus. And then we went through this very weird, grueling system of figuring out how the Democratic Party works. Actually, I don't think anybody understands how the Democratic Party works. Is that right, Anna? Anna, sorry. But we all did, we got together and we were able to lobby the leaders of the party. I think Diane Dennis was the chair of the party at that time. She was very supportive. And then Brian Colon was actually the chair when the caucus was ratified by the full Democratic Party. We are, I think, still the only caucus. Is that true, Mary Ellen? Mary Ellen knows.
Yeah.
I think we're the only caucus. There was an attempt to create a progressive caucus, but somehow it didn't work out. One of the keys to our success, I think, was that the bylaws of a caucus have to be compatible with the bylaws of the state party and the national party. And we had the godfather of rules for the Democratic Party, Mr. Marvin Moss. He volunteered to write our bylaws, so it was smooth sailing. So we might have gotten hung up in several different ways. Our little group that helped found the caucus kind of maneuvered through the power of the Democratic Party and got them all on our side. It was unanimous, pretty much a unanimous vote of the State Central Committee that year. Some of the things that we've been involved in are basically just making the party aware of Native American voting. And I want everybody to know, while we're still counting the votes, that up against on the credenza over there, if you'd like to take with you, and hopefully maybe we'll have time to discuss at our next meeting, some of the goals that were originally created in 2006 when the caucus was created. And then the caucus held what we called a conclave and came together to talk about why we were having trouble getting our goals fulfilled, why we weren't really kind of living up to this set of goals. And so we got together and came up with some of the barriers. So if you'll see from this chart, we used a process called the Indigenous Leaders Interactive System. Ron Martinez volunteered to facilitate the group. And if you look down at the bottom, this chart is what we call an influence chart, or a tree of meaning, so that if a group identifies a set of barriers that hinder their ability to move forward, to make progress on certain kind of issues, we came together to see which one of those barriers actually carried the most influence. Which one, if we took care of first, would enable us to take care of the other ones. So if we were able to address the first one, then theoretically the second and third ones would be easier to solve or address. And what the group came up with is the number one thing is here down at the bottom. It was a good group of folks that worked on that. Some of you are in the room, Evelyn, I think, and others. Was a lack of confidence in ourselves to get over the colonial attitude that keeps us from positive action. That sounds like something my sister might have contributed. But the idea was that we kind of shoot our own selves in the foot when we try to become politically active, and that we have to learn to be a little more confident in our abilities and our power within the Democratic Party and within the political process. The next most important issue that we felt needed to be addressed was the lack of education on the issues that are important to Indians. As I recall, the conversation was not just a lack of education on the part of Indians, but the lack of education on the part of non-Indians about the important issues. And then the three kind of came in at the same level, and that was the lack of education on the importance of voting for Indians on and off the reservation, and the need for more Native Americans to be elected, and then the need for resources to recruit, cultivate, train, and support Native American candidates, organizers, and campaign workers. What we find here in New Mexico is that there's not many trained Native American political organizers. Probably all of them are in this room. So So we felt that that's one of the issues that needed to be addressed, and I think it's part of our goals, and that I will stand by Alvin as the new chair and the rest of the folks that get elected today and be helpful to them and continue the wonderful relationship that we have with the state party. So I think the votes are counted.